here is a bit of a classic smoky eye with a bit of shimmer, but wait till you see it catch the light. This is in studio lighting, but when you take it into daylight, it really delivers. That mix of emerald green and teal really glows. The palette we're using today has so many possibilities. This is dry shadow only. Imagine the intensity when you use them wet. So let me show you how to achieve it. I'm going to start with the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Glide Eye Pencil in the shade Night Forest, which is a deep dark green. At first glance it just appears almost like a slightly lighter black, but it does have a green and blue pearl finish. So it's definitely a better choice than choosing a standard black. So this is going along the waterline, and we're also going to use it to tightline. The easiest way to do this is to look down into a mirror or blink onto the end of the pencil. Next I'm taking the Morphe M301 eye packer brush, and I'm going to run this along the end of the pencil so it coats the bristles, and we're going to use this to buff onto the eyelid, starting at the root of the eyelashes and buffing upwards so it fades into the colour of our skin. This is going to work as a grippy base for our eyeshadow to stick to. It's going to intensify the eyeshadow. I do apologise, I am a little bit under the weather, so excuse my croaky voice. So as we start to get to the outer corner, it's completely up to you if you want to pull this colour out. As you know, I like to extend outwards and slightly upwards towards the tail of the eyebrow because this gives a lifted finish to the eyes. I know not everybody can achieve this, so you don't have to do that. This brush is ideal for this because it is slightly tapered at the end. There is a brush that is ever so slightly smaller than this one, also tapered, so if your eyes are smaller then feel free to use the Morphe M382. I'm using what's left in the bristles to buff this underneath our lower eyelashes, and then on the top, still only using the residue in the bristles, I'm feathering the colour upwards and outwards so that it creates a soft gradient. To adapt this for eyes that are slightly hooded, then you can create a rounded shape and keep all of this on the lid up to where the eye naturally creases, which is the socket line. That's the beauty about a smoky eye, it's completely adaptable to all eye shapes. So this is the Morphe Python Code palette. It is divine. The first shade we're going to take is Anaconda, which on me is quite a flesh tone, and I'm going to use that with the Morphe M383 Eye Detailer brush. This is going on the inner corner of the eye, and as you can see it brightens beautifully, and actually I think I would wear this over my concealer for a very blurred effect. You can see that creamy matte really does smooth out this area, and on my skin tone it's just a shade brighter, so it's not over the top but it's just enough. Now I'm moving on to the M331 Eye Blender brush. This is a tapered blending brush, and I'm going to be pairing that with the darkest shade in the palette. This is a matte dark chocolate shade, and using the very tip of the bristles I'm pressing this on the outer third of the mobile lid and then using what's left on the bristles to pull the colour backwards so we can start fading it into that wing. Again, if you are going for a rounded shape, keep all of this on the mobile lid and then you can do your blending into the socket. To help with the blending, I'm going to take the Morphe M332 Eye Blender brush, and I'm going back in with Anaconda to help with this blend. So put a little bit on your bristles, tap off the excess, and then start working that over the seam of the eyeshadow, which is the highest point. The key here is to use a very light hand. You can barely see the skin moving because I'm not pressing too hard. If you press too hard, you're going to distort the eyeshadow and almost smudge it into the skin, therefore you're not going to get a soft feathery look. Place your hand slightly further down the handle of the brush and that will give you a lighter touch. The closer your hand is to the bristles, the more heavy-handed you're going to be. So this is the smoky base that we're working with. I actually really like this colour. I would wear this as a smoky eye on its own. This is where the magic happens. This is the shade Very Venomous. It's a wet dry marble teal and copper. This is definitely a formulation that works best when applied with your fingers. Never try to lay something like this down with a brush. You're going to get fall down, you're not going to get a very good payoff. You can really pat this on with your fingers, and also because it is like a chrome finish, when you smear a chrome and it flattens the pigment, it becomes more reflective. That's why it's key to use a patting motion when you get towards the back half of the colour and you want it to fade into that brown. We don't want it to be as reflective, so using a stipple motion over the top is going to create that gradient. Now I know green isn't for everybody, but I urge you to try this because it is so beautiful. I really didn't think it would be for me, but I loved it. So this is the brush I was referring to earlier. It's the smaller version of the first brush that we used. I'm using this just to coat the inner corner of the eye. I don't want it to go too far on to the very inner corner where we've applied that matte highlight. Instead, I want it just to coat the tear duct area and then pull that colour back underneath the lower eyelashes and then fade that towards the centre. That way it's mimicking the top lid. Now you've seen the colours that are in this palette, so as I said, this has endless possibilities. I think just using the top 3 colours would give you a completely different look to this, but naturally I gravitated to the most incredible looking eyeshadow in the palette, which I feel was very venomous. Here I've taken the bristles, brushed into a little bit of the Lisa Eldridge pencil again, and I'm buffing this close to the root of the eyelashes just to create a little bit of depth here because we're not going in with any eyeliner. If you're somebody that only prefers to wear mascara and no false lashes, this is a key step because it will help to make that root look darker, therefore in turn making your lashes look fuller. I'm taking my BK Beauty 201 fluffy blending brush. I'm running a very light amount of bronzer through the socket. Any bronzer will do the job, it's just going to warm it up a tiny smidge. Feel free to keep this as cool toned as you like, you don't have to do this step. This M401 is a dual-ended brow brush. One side is a spoolie, the other side is an angled brush, and I'm going to use that just to clean up ever so slightly on the outer edge. If you prefer it to look softer, stick with that. I just wanted something a little bit crisper. I'm going to give my eyelashes a curl using my Refa eyelash curler. Always remember whenever you're using a shimmer eyeshadow to give your lash curler a good clean afterwards, because otherwise on the day that you're not wearing any eyeshadow and you go straight in with your lash curler, your lovely clean eyelid is going to look glittery all day. For mascara, I'm using the YSL Lash Clash mascara. If you're feeling brave and like you want to go all out with the green, they actually do this in a scandalous green shade, and it also comes in blue and brown. This is a great mascara for longevity, it lasts all day. For falsies today, I'm going to go in with the Perfect Lashes by Lash Base. I'm using the full glam set, and I'm going to take these individual sections, but I'm going to cut them into 3 individual sections. And I'm going to place them with a 1 to 1.5 mil gap between each eyelash. And this just gives a flirty kind of almost soft spiky finish, but without looking too spiky. These were designed to go underneath your top eyelashes, but I'm placing them on top, and I'm using a mix of 12mm, 10mm and then 1 8mm on the very inner corner. When you place these underneath your top lashes, you can actually get a glue from Lash Base that will enable you to wear these for sort of up to 7 days, which is great for a short vacation. Here I'm just using duo glue because I like to take them off at the end of the day. And yes, they are reusable, just pull the excess glue off, place them back in your packet and they're good to reuse. The big tray that I showed you at the beginning has all the sizes in it. They also come in a light glam set, this is the full glam, and they also come in brown, which is great for more of a subtle finish. If you want to try these lashes for yourself, you can use my discount code Shonagh LB10, will get you 10% off at the checkout whether you're in the UK or the US. And that completes today's tutorial using the Morphe Python Code eyeshadow palette. I have all 6 of the palette, so if you have a request, please let me know in the comment section below and I will create a tutorial using that palette. Everything that I've used will be listed in the description bar so you can shop directly from the video. Please give the tutorial a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!